things that I wanted to do is try to heal our country. I think we are more divided. And sir, you're laughing. It's not helping.
You're not happy.
They found loopholes to be able to add non-citizens, illegal aliens, into...
They're humans.
Almost everyone in the room, if you pay income taxes, would have had your taxes increased. Trump is doing a great job of securing our border.
I want to know who pays the tariff. Is it consumers or the exporting country?
So right now, what we just saw in a report is that we haven't seen inflation at all. If y'all saw a report, 0.2% on goods.
That wasn't a question.
So if there was inflation, you would see it in the country.
Shame. Bye, Felicia.
Economic policy of this Trump administration in a huge blow to the White House and its agenda, and a big win, I would say, for everyone else. A federal appeals court has just ruled that Trump's sprawling tariffs are unlawful and invalid. Of course, the president has been obsessed with imposing his willy-nilly tariffs on Americans. In fact, it has been the central plank of his entire economic agenda. Now, it has been wildly unpopular. It's polling underwater. It is costing consumers and corporations billions and billions of dollars by the day. It's stopping the Fed from cutting interest rates by driving inflation. It has, on the whole, been really bad economic policy. And most of the discussion of these tariffs have been focused on that. But there's also something about these tariffs, which is that from the jump, they've been pretty clearly illegal. I mean, think about it for a second. Can the president just by himself create tariffs that raise hundreds of billions of dollars with zero congressional input? These tariffs are a violation of the law that they purport to use as the justification, and a violation of the spirit of the Constitution of a country which was quite literally founded on the belief the executive cannot unilaterally just impose a tax without representation, specifically tariffs. Now, the Trump administration has claimed that its tariff regime and the reciprocal tariffs that it has, and those on China and Mexico and Canada, that those are an emergency measure under a 1974 law, and that made it illegal. Well, when this was challenged in a district court, the district court judge said, no way, this does not comport with the law. So the Department of Justice, acting as Trump's lawyers, appealed. In a huge development, an appellate court has just upheld that ruling 7-4, the federal appellate circuit, saying it is illegal. All the tariffs you're citing are illegal. The emergency you claim is not a valid basis to break the law.
We're 6 months into the Trump administration, and Trump is consolidating power, exercising it in ways that he didn't before in his first term, and also causing a lot of concern. I want to flag for you a piece in the Bulwark that I think kind of captures this. Here's the title. It says, "The CDC, the Fed, the FBI, and the National Guard." Do you get it now? The question it's asking is whether Trump is using all of these institutions to carry out a power grab in the United States of America. And guess who is also asking that question? Well, it appears to be former President Barack Obama. He sent out a tweet earlier today asking his followers to listen to a very interesting episode of the Ezra Klein podcast, in which Ezra Klein is talking to Radley Balko, a journalist who has written a lot about law enforcement, about the warning signs in the Trump administration, the ICE agents and Border Patrol agents wearing masks, the erosion of due process. All of these things that in this conversation they discuss have their ties to totalitarianism. So the question is, are people who are normally not very alarmist about Trump suddenly becoming extremely alarmed? And why? There are many Republicans who will say Trump is only doing what he was elected to do. But many people in the country are growing very concerned that he's turned essentially federal immigration agents into his own personal police force. Even the Wall Street Journal tonight reports that Trump now much more unfettered in his second term than he was in his first term, keeps musing about dictatorships and using his power in ways that he was reluctant to do even in his first term, partly because he had advisors who were able to convince him to do otherwise. Now, things are very different, and we're going to discuss whether that is cause for alarm and what it all means for the future of democracy in America.
Is Donald Trump alive right now? I don't think I'm asking the question literally. I mean, he probably is. But where is Trump? Donald Trump has not been seen publicly for 3 days on video since that disaster cabinet meeting from Tuesday. I put out a tweet. I put out a a Blue Sky post, a Substack note earlier saying, has anyone seen Donald Trump on video over the last 3 days? I looked through all of the replies and there is no video of Donald Trump from the last 3 days. The White House put out a tweet with a picture of Trump in the Oval Office because of some new knick-knack or tchotchke that they have in there. But of course, that picture could be from any time. Donald Trump's Truth Social account put out a couple of posts. Of course, these could have been written by anybody. And at least one of them strangely uses the M dash, typically associated with ChatGPT writing. Another one uses the word literally, not something that Donald Trump does in his Truth Social posts. And then we have news of the temporary flight restriction known as a TFR. Donald Trump was scheduled to fly to New Jersey tonight to deliver some remarks. A TFR was filed with air traffic control, and then the TFR was canceled, which suggests that Donald Trump is not going, even though nothing publicly as of this moment has been said as to why he's not going or why this has been canceled. This is all fueling speculation. Where is Donald Trump at this point in time? We have now had weeks of growing concern about Donald Trump's health, of course, some dubbing him Cankles Caligula because of the swollen ankles. He then had bruises on his right hand, which he covered up with very obvious makeup, and we were told it's because of vigorous handshaking. He's shaking so many people's hands, but then bruises appeared on his left hand as well. Trump doesn't shake hands with his left hand. So this is not about conspiracy. This is not about, I have reason to believe Trump is dead. This is about circumstances where we normally do see the guy usually every day, at least every other day. It's been 3 days, no video, TFR canceled, Truth Social posts that look strange, all in the context of growing concern about Donald Trump's health. What's going on? What do you think? Is this anything?
The vision that Donald Trump has is so damn regressive, right? Does anybody in this room want to go backwards in time? I think this country demands, rightfully so, big, bold, radical change in America, right? There has to be something that we are voting for. A vision that we can share with one another about how this country will be better when we stop the bad guys in power and elect more Democrats to replace them. So how about a democracy where we get big money out of politics, where we roll back Citizens United so corporations are no longer people and money is no longer speech in America. We set term limits on every single office at every level of government, no matter where you are. We pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act so people can actually cast a ballot. And after we win power, we get the politicians out of redistricting and we return that power, all of that power, back to the people. That is a democracy. That is not something that exists today. That is something that we can fight for. But we have no hope of a political democracy if we can't also create an economic one. In the last 5 decades, $50 trillion with a T has moved from lower and middle income Americans to the very wealthiest people in this country. And it is continuing apace right now. I mentioned 1 trillion just is flowing right now from all of us in this room to the wealthiest 1% in this country. What if all those trillions of dollars were actually returned to the Americans who created that wealth in the first place with their hard work, with their dedication to this country, with the rules that they live by? with the honest day that they put in each and every day. So you're guaranteed that one job is enough and you don't need to work 2 or 3 just to make ends meet, especially if you're teaching school in El Paso, Texas. Guaranteed to see a doctor when you're sick, a doctor before you get sick, and so that you don't get sick at all, access to fresh and healthy food and clean drinking water, no matter where you live, the ability to buy a home if you're working for it, because too many of our fellow El Pasoans right now are working for it and cannot afford one. And most importantly, ensuring that your child can go to a world-class public school right here in El Paso, Texas, or San Antonio, or anywhere else. And for the women of Texas, let's remind ourselves that in 1973, abortion was just as illegal in the state of Texas as it is today. But no one came in from outside of this state to rescue the women of Texas. It was, in fact, 3 very young Texas women. You know Jane Roe's name, right? Linda Coffey, one of the attorneys. Sarah Weddington, 26 years old. Most complicated case she had ever tried was a no-contest divorce. The 3 of them prevail upon an all-male United States Supreme Court to render the Roe versus Wade decision, ensuring that every woman make her own decision about her own body, her own future, and her own health care. So, message to Donald Trump: do not fuck with the women of Texas or you will find out. Right? But human rights at home, and as the most powerful country on the planet, human rights abroad. Imagine this, an America that is no longer complicit in the bombing and the starving and the slaughtering of tens of thousands of children in Gaza. And instead, we use the awesome power of this country to convene the nations of the world if we have to ensure that we establish a sovereign, independent state for the Palestinian people, work for their safety, the safety of the Israeli people, of everyone in that region, sowing peace and reaping prosperity, not just for them, but for all of us. And then bring that same logic back home and recommit ourselves to the Constitution, to due process, to the Bill of Rights, to those protections that are being erased and destroyed right before our eyes over the last 7 months. And then this one, we're going to make sure that every dreamer is legal for life, every dreamer's parent is legal for life, every hardworking American doing the job that no one else will is legal for life, contributing even more to the greatness of this country as U.S. citizens. As Mandela Barnes in Wisconsin said at a town hall that we were having in Milwaukee last week, when we win power again, we need to drive the car like we stole it, right? Everything we've got on everything that we care about for everyone who's being harmed right now, who can be so successful, not just for themselves, but for this country, when their potential is finally unleashed.
Hey, Donald Trump. It's just me, Paula Poundstone. I'm throwing the ball for my dog in the backyard. I saw where you said that you hate Democrats because they hate our country and you love our country. And I'm a Democrat, and hold on. I was wondering how you are defining our country, because I don't hate our country, and there are a lot of Democrats, so that's a lot of people in the country to hate. And we know you don't like, I assume you hate immigrants, people of color anyways, as well as black people. And you don't like the land, let's face it, you've got it, the EPA. So what is it about the country that you love? Just asking for my dog.
So we just had a major incident happen here at Union Station. Park Police showed up, Metro Police showed up, the Metro Police Chief showed up. He had colonel rank on his shoulder. We had Amtrak Police showed up. We also had an extra National Guard unit show up and a police helicopter over our heads. There was no less than 4 agencies and about 100 people show up because 2 people allegedly used sidewalk chalk to write on a street pole here, or a flag pole here. They got flag poles right here on You see those flagpoles? They're at half mast right now following the shooting in Minneapolis. And somebody brought some chalk, we don't know who, and wrote on the base of those flagpoles with chalk. Now, the chalk is gone now because it washes away with water. But Metro Police, the Metro Police Chief, Amtrak Police, and National Guard en masse showed up, plus a helicopter. Both of these alleged criminals have been arrested. So scratch everything I said about there being no crime spree in D.C. I've witnessed firsthand tonight a violent, egregious crime committed with sidewalk chalk, and the response by police was completely appropriate. We needed 100 people here to get involved. You can't just have, errant chalk laying around where people could potentially write on lampposts where it could be erased. Thank God we had all the police here. Crime spree in D.C.
We voted on this, and it was unanimous among our unions for one reason. We're not a partisan organization. A lot of people forget that. We have Democrats and Republicans. And we understand that some of our members even voted for Donald Trump. We understand that. They were told by him that he wanted to make us more safe, that he wanted to deport criminals. And instead, he's been deporting and targeting workers and grandmothers and children and dreamers. They were told, even our Republican members, that he was for working people, that somehow he cared about bringing manufacturing and jobs back to America and to make sure that working people were taken care of. And what has he done? He has systematically destroyed our federal government unions by abolishing basically collective bargaining agreements that were decades in the making. He has taken away the right to collectively bargain of every employee he possibly can, and that is not pro-worker. So we tell our members who believed him, it's okay. He fucking lied. We don't blame them, but we do tell them this. And they know this because they showed it in the last election. Even those who voted for Donald Trump in some of our reddest areas in the state said, we are going to send a check by voting for a Democrat to Congress. We had split ticket voting in a number of districts, and in fact, flipped 3 of those. That's what Donald Trump was afraid of. That's why he went to his lapdog in Texas and said, do something for me because they're about to come get a couple more. Yes, we were. But if he wants to cheat, we're going to fight back. We are tired of lapdogs.
We have some big news right now. 2 major re-election bids have just stopped. First, Joni Ernst in Iowa is not running for re-election as senator, and Rebecca Bradley, a justice on the Wisconsin Supreme Court, another Republican, not running for re-election in Wisconsin. Now, here's the thing. This is a major trend that we're seeing across the country. Republicans are not running for re-election, and it signifies that the Republican Party is nervous about re-election chances. In Iowa earlier this week, there was Caitlin Dray literally won a special election in a Trump plus 11 district, flipping the seat from red to blue and breaking the Republican supermajority. And just days later, Joni Ernst, the United States Senator, decides not to run for re-election. It's not a coincidence. And in Wisconsin, Rebecca Bradley's decision not to run for re-election opens up a major battle for the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Theoretically, if Democrats win that seat, they could have a hold on the Supreme Court for a long time.
Those who say that the National Guard has positively impacted Washington, D.C. in terms of lowering the crime rate. You had someone like Mayor Muriel Bowser this week almost applaud Trump's surge of law enforcement for lowering crime in D.C., although she did also note that the presence of masked ICE agents and National Guard members is not working. But what do you say to those responses that this is helping the crime situation in some way? Is there any way to work with the National Guard?
Well, let me say a couple of things. The first is that we have a governor, a commander-in-chief over our National Guard here in Illinois. And I want to make that important distinction. Governor Pritzker has not requested this assistance as the commander-in-chief. The second thing that I will say is No, I do not see it as helping, because this is an effort to try to normalize a military presence on American soil. And we cannot do that. This is a classic page out of the authoritarian playbook. To first of all say, oh, there's an emergency, and so we have to start snatching people off the streets, people who are masked, taking our neighbors off the streets, going into businesses and houses of worship, people who are living peacefully, putting them into unmarked cars. That cannot be normalized. But what also cannot be normalized is that when good people, decent people who are affected by what they're seeing and are heartbroken by what they're seeing start to protest peacefully, of course, then the Trump administration wants to say, oh, look, we have to come to the rescue and now federalize the National Guard and send troops against American citizens. The last time a president has federalized the National Guard was in 1965, when President Lyndon B. Johnson sent troops to protect protesters who were marching from Selma to Montgomery, and that was to protect their rights. That's not what this is. Donald Trump wants to federalize the National Guard to crush our rights. And this is not just the rise of authoritarianism, we are seeing it in action. And so, no, I will never normalize militarizing local law enforcement or the National Guard against American people. This is a power grab by a wannabe dictator, and we're not going to stand for it here in Illinois.
It's time for the Trucker John livestream. Gonna be a good time. Oh yeah, the Trucker John livestream. Come along for a good time. It's a good time, good time, good time, good time. Trucker John livestream. It's gonna be a good time. Gonna be the time of your life. Gonna talk some shit. Hush your mouth. Gonna talk a little smack. Gonna talk whatever comes of it. You're gonna always wanna come back. Oh yeah, it's the Trucker John live stream. He's the biggest, baddest, funniest mother you've ever seen. Watch your mouth, he's headed south. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the Trucker John live stream is the best thing you've ever seen.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for. Trucker John.
All right, test, 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 test. Can you guys hear me? Hopefully so. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Is the microphone working? Let's see. All right. Yeah, it's working. Good morning, everybody. Yes, it is 11:33 a.m. Pacific time here in beautiful Las Vegas. We're currently at 94 degrees. We're supposed to get to 101 today. I was hoping we were done with the triple digits, but they did revise that because earlier in the week or last week, it looked like there was no more triple digits. Looks like we've got a few days of some triple digit heat, and then it's supposed to be cooling back down again, I think after three or 4 days of this. And then hopefully we're done with it, but I wouldn't hold my breath on that. Anyhow, thanks guys for being here. I do appreciate you. I hope you enjoyed the intro there. I thought those are some good clips and interesting clips. Looks like first in the chat is Paul Burrows, and that might have been from. Well, you know what? I didn't even put this up until this morning, until later. So anyhow, Paul Burrows is here. Not sure if Paul's still here or not. Sandy Foltz is second. Hello, Sandy. Welcome to the to the show. Linavois is here. Hey, Linavois, good to see you. As always, Lug Dragon, number 5, damn it. Hey, man, top 5's nothing to sneeze at. Damon Dog, the big dog, is here in the driver's lounge. Aaron West is here. Hey, Aaron, good to see you. Aaron says, welcome to the Hal Sparks After Show. Absolutely. This is the after show. So, you should tell everybody over there if they want to, if you're having some interesting conversations with some other sparklers and the show's wrapping up over there, you should tell everyone, hey, let's go continue our conversation over there at the Trucker John channel. We could say whatever we want because he doesn't even pay attention. Well, that's what we got Aaron for, and Jolie. Yeah, that's the whole idea. The sparklers can come over here and hang out for another couple hours if you didn't have enough, over there. Roxanne, 1979 is here. Roxanne says, howdy, TJ and loungers. Yes, welcome to the lounge. We are in the driver's lounge. Pull up a chair, grab a donut or a bagel, slather some cream cheese on it, get you some coffee. We got those styrofoam cups over there. And we got some little sugar cubes. We have the powdered creamer, just I don't want it sitting out spoiling. Hey, Angelic Starseed is here. Hopefully still here. I know these chats are probably about a half an hour ago, so not sure who's still here and who's not here. We do have 53 watching. Only 40 thumbs up, so give me a thumbs up if you would. That would be awesome. Right now, unfortunately, we are operating as though we were a bunch of Republicans because we're at a deficit. We're operating at a thumbs up deficit. So let's hit that thumbs up button if you would. Fancy's here. Hey, Fancy, good to see you. Fancy says, never fear. Fancy is here, right? Absolutely. Gino Maynard's here. Hey, Gino, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. Mr. Spock says, I should do an after Trucker John show. Well, I think you kind of did that the other day. You kind of did a live stream right after my show. So yeah, do that. We got Johnny Katz is here. John Voy, yeah, the John Voy. Mr. Spock, by the way, live long and prosper, Mr. Spock. And we got a $2 super chat from Fancy. Yippee! Thank you, Fancy. You get a thumbs up and a heart. Thanks for getting us started off there on the goal, today's goal. Today is probably the last day, well, it's the last day for me of live streaming for the month. So something to think about there. Gino Maynard says salutations to old Mr. Spock there. And let's see. Agolf Twitler is here. Hey, Agolf, good to see you. Johnny Cat says, I wonder, I don't know if I can solve this one without my slide ruler. Does anyone get one? I left mine at home. I don't know. I don't know if I'm mid-thread on something there. I don't know. Anyhow, did you guys watch, by the way, speaking of Hal Sparks, did you guys watch the Flapper show last night? I ended up watching the one from a month ago first. I thought I was watching the current one, and somehow I clicked on the one that was, I guess, the last one, and I didn't know it until I think I kind of figured it out, because he was talking about Ozzy, and he's like, yeah, Ozzy died last week, and I was like, and I'm like, I was thinking, hasn't it been? It's been longer than a week or 2 weeks or whatever he said. I guess he said 2 weeks, but I was like, it's been longer than 2 weeks. But so I ended up watching that whole one, which is like an hour and a half total time. And I really didn't figure it out until I think the very end. I'm like, oh, and then I saw the one that had just been on. So I went ahead and watched that. I went ahead and so it was basically about 3 hours of Hal comedy. And it was kind of interesting to see. You know, they have the MC, and then they had the comic that came on right before Hal was the same one as last month, and you could see both the MC and the other comic. I can't remember his name. They did a lot of the same material, but you can see how they changed it. They're working it, you know, how they're kind of working out their little routines there, and how it got a little bit better over from last month to this month. I think their sets got a little bit better. And then on the new one last night, they had Cece, an Asian lady, who I thought was hilarious. I thought she was hilarious, and she wasn't getting the laughs I think that she deserved. I thought she was fucking hilarious. So I hope she stays at it, and she keeps working on her material, because I think she's only going to get better. I thought she was great. And then I think her name was Cece. I think that's how I remember her, the MC there introducing her. And then Hal came on, and Hal just kind of knocked it out of the park. It was really pretty funny. And he just, like you said, he just riffs that shit. You know, but it was good. So if you guys watched that, it was oh yeah, Roxanne says Flappers is members only. So yeah, that's true. So if you want to watch that, little plug here for Hal, become a member of over there at Hal's channel. That's right, that was a members only deal, and I am a member proudly for like 38 months or whatever. I don't know. See that's what Hal does. He gives his members something. I got to figure out something for you guys. Anyhow, yeah, Fancy says it's really her. The Soulcraft says, Mr. Spock, you watching Strange New Worlds? I watched both Trekkie docs again last night. 56 Nick Rich is here. Like number 19. Good day, folks. Good day, Nick Rich. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hitting that thumbs up for me. We're almost to a balanced budget. We're still a little bit shy of a balanced budget. Eileen Posner is here. She says, or they say, howdy, y'all. The video they're posting of Trump being alive and shaking hands is from June 28th, y'all. Cross your fingers. Yeah, and there was the clip there. Was it Pacman was talking about that? I was watching earlier. Yeah, there was that he had this unannounced hospital visit. Is that how they were putting it for Trump? And he's kind of not really showing up to things. He's not even golfing. You know, kind of be careful what you wish for. Eileen is crossing her fingers. I mean, what will happen with a J.D. Vance presidency? You know, I mean, I've heard Hal say, and a lot of people say that, you know, he won't have really the MAGA support that Trump has, but I don't know. Who knows? I mean, will we be worse off? Will we be better off with Vance taking over? I don't know, man. I think it's going to get worse, actually. As bad as it is now, and as bad as Trump is doing all the fucking horrible shit that he's doing, I think it's going to be worse under Vance. I hate to tell you that, but I could see it being drastically worse. Like speeding up all the Project 2025, all that shit, continuing to gut things like the CDC, and really tear apart our law enforcement in our defense. You know, with having people like Hegseth at defense, and fucking Kash Patel at FBI, and fucking Tulsi Gabbard, total fucking Russian asset in charge of DNI and all that shit. I mean, I could see Vance just accelerating all that, and so I don't know. I feel like we're in a lose-lose. We're in a lose situation with Trump, and we're in a lose situation with Vance. I mean, it's just not. And at this point, I almost think that Trump is the lesser of two evils between Trump and Vance. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, baby. I don't know. Why do I break into song when I can't even sing? Mr. Spock says, no, I haven't watched Star Trek for a while. Yeah, I haven't either. Owen, 11793 says, it's me, not sure why I have 5 numbers after my name. It's whack. It's because the YouTube on certain channels is putting in your, I guess that's your handle. There's a difference between your profile name and your handle. And you can go into settings and you can change it, but you can only do 2 changes every 2 weeks or in a 2-week period. Anyhow, Adolf Twitler says, why is Pam Bondi and Kash Patel hiding over $1.1 billion in wire transfers to and from Trump to Jeffrey Epstein? I think they're hiding it because that would look pretty incriminating, wouldn't it? It's a cover-up. It's a huge cover-up. So speaking of that, release the goddamn Epstein files. Why don't you? Nick Rich says nobody misses the bloated bamboozling loser. Loser. Soulcraft says, I dig those movies. They all call them the Kelvin timeline. I have a nephew named Kelvin, by the way. Michelle's here. Michelle says, happy Saturday. Owen says, Fancy, what's your channel? I keep looking for some music you made. Do I have that right? Oh, yeah. Fancy's got some cool music. Very, very, very catchy, very upbeat. Anna Moore is here. Anna says, hello, TJ and fellow loungers. I hope you are having a great weekend. Me too. I hope so too. Fancy says, look up the song Fancy's Fighting Purse. And it's a great song. It's so catchy and upbeat and, has some great, it's like an upbeat country song, Adolf Twitler says Trump is asking for money from his supporters today. He says he is trying to get to heaven. Did he really say that? Like you need money to get to heaven? Which is completely 100% opposite of what Jesus said. He said that it would be easier for a camel to ride through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the gates of heaven or some shit. Soulcraft, I'm gonna erase my comments so TJ doesn't get behind or too behind. Well, that's just the nature of the show. I'm gonna read the chats. I'm gonna be behind. I could just ignore you guys if you would prefer, and I could just completely ignore the chat and just have a bunch of graphs and charts and pulleys and there's I don't know. Agolf says, appears he will just buy a stairway. And he's buying a stairway to heaven. Oh, thank you very much. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you very much. 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 Thank you very much. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody who's here today. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you. Adolf Twitler says, I love Beto, but he needs to win office in Texas before he will win office nationally. Oh, you mean like Trump? No, I'm just kidding. Hopefully Trump is an anomaly. Damon Dog, the big dog's here. 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 Good to see you. He's having some ramen, apparently. Chris Doug's here. Hey, Chris Doug, good to see you. Got your safety vest on there. Keep that safety vest on at all times, please. The ride could get bumpy. DPD 5844 says, greetings, everyone. Greetings. Yes, greetings to you all. Damon Dog says, notice it's always America first, but never Americans first. Mr. Spock, I'm just asking for my chicken. In reference to the Paula Poundstone thing, where, yeah, I thought I put a little Paula in there. She's kind of funny. Paula Poundstone kind of cracks me up whenever she calls into the Stephanie Miller show. Do you guys listen to or watch the Stephanie Miller show? How many Steph heads do we have in the chat today, in the driver's lounge? I imagine we've got Steph heads and sparklers and lobsters in here, and what else we got? A little bit of everything in here, I suppose. I do suppose. Fancy says they are squandering the American people's money. Yeah, we don't have money to feed kids. We don't have money to keep people on Medicare or with health care. We just don't. We just can't afford it, folks. We just can't afford it. But we can spend fucking $800 million or whatever on this fucking ICE bullshit. You know, we got plenty of money to send Trump around to his fucking golf courses, and for him to gouge prices there to house all the fucking security, you know, et cetera, et cetera. We can spend $1 billion to have to, you know, go through that plane that he's getting from the fucking whoever it was, Saudis or whatever it was, or one of those people over there. Yeah, we have money for that, but we don't have money for the real shit, the really important shit. You know, like healthcare and food. It's just so sickening. It's so sickening. Steven Sayers is here. Hey, Steve, good to see you. Thanks for joining us here in the driver's lounge today. Tacticus Kilgore is here. Hey, says, hey, TJ. Hey, Tacticus Kilgore, otherwise known as Tom, I think. I know Tacticus has a few different screen names there, but good to see. We'll go with Tacticus today. Tacticus Kilgore. Thanks for being here. I do, because I recognize the little icon there. So. The Soul Crab says, how many of Biden's pardons have reoffended? How many of Trump's? I know Biden's are 0, but curious about, but Trump's is a lot. It seems like we're always hearing of another one where one guy just got arrested for trying to have sex with with an underage girl. You know, that happened just recently. There's been quite a few where, yeah, they went out. They got pardoned. They went out and committed other crimes and ended up back in prison where they belong, but they should have never been released in the first place. Donald Trump and his administration obviously love traitors because they are traitors. They obviously hate the United States of America, and they love traitors because he pardoned all those Jan 6ers, and they're all traitors as far as I'm concerned. And now the Air Force, and I'm sure this wasn't just the Air Force coming up with this. This is probably, you know, I'm sure Trump got a hold of somebody in the Air Force and said, make this happen. You know, they're going to give Ashley Babbitt, you know, full military honors and all this bullshit. And she was a big fucking traitor. She was fucking unhinged, and she was on a mission when she went there. And she was fired up, and she had her fucking backpack with God knows only what. I mean, I guess we know now, but she could have had a bomb in there, you know. So people are saying that she shouldn't have been that officer, was wrong in shooting. But, she was climbing up through a broken window, about to go into the area that they had. It was kind of like the security there, the officers, that was the line, man. Don't go past this line, because, they didn't say this, but just down the hallway, that's where the fucking Congress people were at. And they set up that where, okay, this is it. Don't cross this line. And he drew his gun, and she went up through the window with a backpack, all gung ho, like fucking, William Wallace or whatever the fuck. And she paid the price. She fucked around and she found out. So, and she's a fucking unhinged kook, fucking traitor to this country. She does not deserve any type of fucking decoration or honors. It's a really slap in the face to all the service people who have actually fought and made the ultimate sacrifice for freedom, for democracy, and to fight fascism. So she does not deserve any of that shit. DPD says having the National Guard in D.C. is costing American taxpayers $1 million a day. Let that sink in for a moment. And that's just in D.C., $1 million a day for what's going on there. That actually seems low to me. But, yeah, they've slashed budgets in other areas, and they put it all in this fucking ICE shit. And that's got to be illegal too. We just saw in the clips there. Yeah, a judge came down and said, no, you can't. These tariffs you're doing are fucking illegal, dude. You can't do that. That's what Congress is supposed to do. And Congress is negligent because, they allowed for this supposed emergency status or emergency situation, which was all bullshit. And you can't just keep that going. There's no fucking emergency that would allow for Trump to just do these fucking nilly-willy tariffs, at his own whim. If we had an actual functioning Congress where Republicans actually gave a goddamn about this country, about our Constitution, Trump would have been impeached on day one, and certainly by now he's done a lot of impeachable. He's breaking the law every fucking day. That's impeachable. That's a high crime and misdemeanor. They should be impeaching his fucking ass. And the Democrats, I'm sure, are all for it, but the Republicans, no. They fucking bow to him. And in the very opening clip, did you see how people are shouting down these Republicans and calling them out at these town meetings? And the one guy, I really loved it, how the one guy was kind of a close up, and you can see him like gulping. He was like, because people are yelling at him, and he's like, shit, good, make them nervous. Make those motherfuckers nervous. I guess David Weiss is here. I guess I didn't mean to skip over that, but David Weiss from Denver is here. Oh, I guess a correction on the pronunciation of what I was saying. I was saying Tacticus Kilgore. It's Tacitus. The C is not a hard C. It's Tacitus Kilgore, and we want to make sure that we get that right. It's so important. Roxanne says Giants beat the brakes off of the Orioles last night. Jen had a blast. He was riding high. He says hi to everyone. He'll be back with us on Monday. Looking forward to it. Yeah, Tacitus, it's me, Tom Bias. I knew. Yeah, Tom. That's right. It's me. All right, Tacitus Kilgore, otherwise known as Tom Bias. I believe from Texas. Michelle says they know they are wrong to follow blindly with Trump. And yet they do it anyhow, even though they know they're wrong. Because they're so afraid of losing the little bit of power they have in their little congressional district or whatever. We're going to talk some shit. Gonna talk a little smack. I'm just sort of skipping down a little bit here. Michelle says, "Hey, Trucker John. Oh, just popped in to say hello." Well, hello. You're probably gone already because I'm probably 27 minutes behind. But thanks for being here, Michelle. I do appreciate you coming on in and hanging out with us. DPD 5844. I like that theme song. Well, thank you. Roxanne, gonna talk whatever comes of it. Gonna always want to come back. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm my own background singer. Aaron West says we're making crab stuffed mushrooms for an oyster and rib roast. We are headed to this afternoon. Wow, that sounds good. That sounds pretty good. Nick Rich 11:33. Man, I am 28 minutes behind, but that's the way it goes. You know, that's just the way. That's just the nature of the show. Like I said, I could completely ignore the chat if you prefer. Yeah, I'm just now in the chat where I'm getting the thumbs ups. I believe Jolie is. I think her daughters have a roller derby. They're in a roller derby league. Jolie's daughters, and I believe they are playing today. And it might be out of town. They might have traveled. I'm not sure. So I think that's what Jolie is doing today. And it's always fun. Sometimes she's posted some videos or pictures of that, and it looks like a great time. Looks like they have a great time doing that. Fancy says the air conditioning is up at high. What is it, 70 degrees? Let's see, 84. Oh, 84, that's a little warm, I guess, but it's a little warmish. I would have my AC on for that, but not. I don't know if I have to crank it up, all the way high, but yeah. Hey, Robert Perez is here from down San Diego way. Good to see you. Thanks, Robert. Says good day, Trucker John, and everybody try to have a good Labor Day weekend. Yeah, just try to do our best. I know it's. And there are some marches going on. If you guys know of any marches, I believe on Monday, on the actual Labor Day, I want to check those out. Sandy Foltz is here. Sandy says, me and my son went swimming together, and today we're going bowling. Ah, awesome. Sounds like a great time, Sandy. Damon Dog says, Fancy, my HVAC is still out. These little window units are not doing the job. That sucks. Sandy says, I was first in the chat. Okay. Paul Burrows would have something to say about that, maybe, but. Agolf Twiddler says, I'm not allowed to speak on Hal Stream. There is a shadow ban thing applied to me, perhaps because of my account name. Well, I don't know. Your account name is working here, so I don't know. Tacitus Kilgore says his phone battery went out, so he bought a new phone. Yeah. Why buy a new battery when you can just get a whole new phone? It comes with a battery. You know what I mean? Roxanne79 says, Agoff Twitler says, it took Jen to explain your name to me, and after that, I thought it was great. You can never tell why people get blocked from Hal. Makes me sad because they're Democrats. He likes trolls. He really doesn't like trolls. I mean, he likes to get that. Well, he likes the algorithm. It says it helps the algorithm. So. A Golf Twiddler says, cheers. Damon Dog, I missed Flappers last night. So if you're a member of Hal Sparks channel, you should be able to go and get it. I think it'll be up there forever. Nick Rich, I watched the Flapper Show at 7 a.m. my time. I watched it last night at like, I don't know, 10, 11, something. Search for You says, powdered cream gives me a stomach ache. Took me years to figure it out. We have Ninag 363 Ninag. Not sure if I've seen you in here before, so thanks for coming in. I do appreciate you coming in and hanging out. Hope you give me a like and a subscribe and all that good stuff. Ninag 363 says, I love that guy with a MAGA hat in the front row. I wonder if it really was a MAGA hat, because I think the MC, what's her name, Jody or whatever, did she reference it as a MAGA hat? I remember her saying that. But I wonder if was it really a MAGA hat? I wonder. I don't know. And then during Hal's set, the guy got up and made a comment, and then Hal kind of like shot him down, really, really quick. Search for You. Vance is the devil #2. Damon Dog says Vance is worse, but he won't have MAGA support, so it'll be easier to stop him. Well, we'll see. I guess we'll see. I mean, maybe we'll see. I don't know what's going to happen with Trump. A lot of people, like even Hal himself, doesn't think that Trump's going to, survive the entire 4 years of his term. So maybe we'll find out if Trump either dies or becomes incapacitated, and then to the point where Vance has to take over. We'll see. People are assuming that he's not going to have the support of MAGA, but I don't know. I don't know if that's true. Because where are they going to go? What are they going to do? Like, I mean, I don't know. But I guess the in the sense that the other Republicans won't fear him because they won't like Trump can just go, I'll primary your ass. And they're like, oh shit. And they know that MAGA will, if he says primary this dude, they'll primary that dude. So in that sense, I guess that's the main thing. So will Vance be able to say that and do the same thing? Would MAGA, if Vance said, hey, look, We got to primary this dude. He's not on board. He's not with us. He's not one of us, even though he's a Republican, but he's not one of us. Would MAGA be able to, would they do that? So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, we might see. Maybe we won't see. This depends on if Trump survives or not. David Windler says Vance is worse, but the cult ends with Trump. But we still have the Republican Party. And so I'm not so sure if, taking Trump out of the equation, taking MAGA out of the equation, you still have the GOP. And the GOP has always been about lowering taxes for the rich, cutting regulations for their businesses. That's really the core of what that they've always been, at least since in my lifetime. And so they're getting what they want. Even though they might not be completely on board with everything that he's doing, with Trump, that Trump is doing, but they're all about zero taxes for the rich and cutting as many regulations away as possible. And so I don't think there's gonna be much change, with Vance as president. I think we're still fucked. We're still fucked. It's not like Vance is gonna go, okay, RFK Jr., you gotta go. I'm gonna put an actual fucking either a doctor or someone with some science degrees in that position. Vance doesn't give a fuck. It's not like he's gonna go, oh yeah, maybe I should put somebody with some real law enforcement experience, some real expertise into the FBI. Vance doesn't give a fuck. It's not like Vance is going to go, oh yeah, don't gerrymander, guys. Hey, Texas and Florida, let's cool it on the gerrymandering. No, he doesn't give up. He's going to want gerrymandering just as much as Trump does, and they'll do it. They'll do it. They'll still do it. Paul Burrows is still here. Paul says this country is rolling downhill like a snowball heading for hell. But the closer it gets, the hotter it gets, and the more the snowball melts. I don't know. Tacitus Kilgore says if PAB didn't have all the legal troubles, he'd have more success with Project 2025. So far, the lower courts have been stopping a lot of that shit. We have, I think, the thing to really fear is when those things if they go to the Supreme Court, because they're pretty much totally for Trump. Although John Roberts has done a few things that were kind of surprising in a good way. Damon Dog, the big dog, sent 5 Trucker John memberships. Thank you, Damon Dog. Yippee going out to Damon Dog. I do appreciate you. And the 5 were Susie Jones, Nelson Silva, Thomas Walker, Blue Tomato, and Tiki Tony. Maybe those folks will come on in and say hi. That'd be nice. So thank you, Damon Dog. I appreciate you. Great way to help support the show, help us grow. And I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Tacitus Kilgore says, without PAB, MAGA will splinter into separate factions. Yeah, they will, but they're still going to be Republican, and the Republicans will still be all about tearing apart our institutions. You know, tearing apart Social Security, Medicare, our health, CDC, our defense, all that shit. They're just tearing it apart, and they'll continue to do so. Nineag 363 said Led Zeppelin told us she can't buy a Stairway to Heaven. Well, did they? Because at the very end, they say that she is buying a Stairway to Heaven. DPD 5844 says that Vance will be working extremely hard to abolish the 19th Amendment. Also, Vance and Trump are both cut from the same cloth. And remember that no one in this administration is there to help us. Right. Chris Doug did a 5-mile hike this morning. I'm done. Live streams on Netflix later. Maybe talk to Turkish Bakery for their delicious hot tea and pastries. Happy Labor Day. All. Happy Labor Day back at you, Chris. Congratulations on another big hike. And now you can reward yourself by watching, relaxing to the Trucker John live stream, drinking your Turkish tea, and maybe having a delicious pastry. Yeah, Egolf Twitler, there are no checks and balances with Donald. Gino Maynard Mooks. Hey, Gino Maynard, good to see you. The Mooks, yeah, that would be like Stephanie Miller has the Mooks. Ruben Michaels said, I saw Led Zeppelin back in 1971 when they were really in their heyday, right? Chris Doug says it's 75 degrees, 37% humidity, and not a cloud in the sky. Absolutely beautiful day in northern New Jersey, the Garden State. Nick Rich, Danimals. Oh, yes, Danimals, of course. Of course, Nick Rich. How could I forget? The Danimals are here. Johnny Katz says, I tried watching Stephanie Miller show, but there's honestly too many commercials. It's like every 30 seconds she's going to break. I do love Paula. She's funny and tall. Well, at least the commercials aren't really like commercials. At least, well, if you're watching on YouTube, I mean, they just put in while they are in a commercial break because they do their show, a lot of their shows on actual real radio stations. So that's why they have all those commercial breaks. Those are the commercial breaks that a radio station would have. But at least when you're watching on YouTube, you're not watching a commercial. They plug in, previously some previous clips from previous shows, or they'll do some John Fugelsang stuff, which is funny. But as you're watching, a lot of that stuff is repeated, and you're like, oh, I've already seen this. But that's just the nature of it. That's just how many commercials there would be if she was on a radio station, which they do air that on radio stations. That's why you can't cuss on her show, because a lot of her stuff goes out to actual real over-the-air radio stations. Damon Dog, where the fuck is my $5,000 check? Are we supposed to be getting $5,000 checks? Did Trump say that? I hope he cuts those and sends them out before he croaks. Steve Imes? Is here? Hey, Steve, good to see you. Or Stevie. It's either Steve Imes or Stevie Mez. Could be either one. Says Trump probably not dead, but he's definitely in the Epstein files. Right. Exactly. Johnny Cass says, "Don't forget, we got the money to give Ashley Babbitt." Yeah, well, I don't who, because I guess they sued the government, and they were awarded, was it $5 million or some shit? Anyhow, Johnny Cass says, "Don't forget, we got the money to give Ashley Babbitt a full military funeral and pay her family a large sum of money." I forget exactly. Yeah, like $5 million. I think it was like $5 million. Yeah, ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. It's funny how certain things bug people. Like Roxanne talking about the Stephanie Miller show says, "I used to bust my ass to mute that fucking tedious holding song. I got sick of it, but that song made me twitch and have panic attacks." It's so. I mean, I'm sorry that you're getting panic attacks and twitching and all this shit. It's funny that shit doesn't even affect me at all. It doesn't even, not one bit. And so it's kind of mind boggling to me how different we as human beings are, about how certain things can affect us and other things don't. Boy, and Agolf Triller, they need to change the whole music. People are really. I didn't know. I didn't really realize that was an issue. I had no idea. I don't even think about it. I'm off doing my own thing, I guess. I don't know. 8899 RGRXX says, "Who is Stephanie Miller?" Think need to Google her one time. Stephanie Miller does a show. She's been doing it for at least since Air America. Before that, she did other shows, like more like music shows or whatever. But she's been a radio personality for well over 20 years. So what can I say? What else can I say? She does an early mornings live stream. Well, they live stream her show, which is actually broadcast out to actual real radio stations, but they do live stream it on YouTube and probably Twitch too. Yeah, Twitch and other places, but it is actually going out over the air on actual real radio stations. Roxanne says no mods at Stephanie Miller and she doesn't interact. I do believe that Andrea has started modding quite a while now. I think a few months now, if I remember. I do believe that Andrea mods Stephanie's the show there. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but I thought I saw Andrea in there. Maybe Aaron, was Aaron in there modding? Aaron, you could tell me. I mean, you could tell us. But anyhow, maybe I'm wrong. Look, Dragon says, Rockstar, there are mods. Stephanie Miller. One of the name Andrea. Who doesn't know Andrea at this point? Well, I guess. Look, Dragon, maybe you don't go to Hal. Andrea has been Hal Sparks' mod for longer than I've been watching the show. I've been watching for years now. She's also almost like a producer. I wouldn't say producer, but she does a lot of behind the scenes stuff for Hal. She's She books a lot of the guests. She gets people on there. Andrea isn't just a mod. I mean, she's a big part of the show, I think. It's kind of funny how some person I think called Andrea. Andrea is a big part of the Hal Sparks thing. Socrates says Johnny looks more like Billy Howard. Oh, talking about Johnny Million, I think. More like Billy Howard. Crystal Carter's here. Hey, Crystal, good to see you. Thanks for joining us in the driver's lounge today. Crystal Carter says, TJ, the thing is, Ashley Babbitt would still be alive had Donnie not called his troops to the Capitol on Jan 6. It's his fault she's dead. Well, it is his fault, but it's also her fault. I mean, you can't take the blame off of her. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. But she was stupid enough to be a follower. But I get you. I get your point. People are talking about Jen Taub. I don't know who Jen Taub is. People say she's awesome. People are saying that Jen Taub is awesome. But apparently there's that. Everyone has that's cool. Everyone has their likes and dislikes and everything else. Tacitus Gilgore is agreeing with Crystal Carter. Yes. Yeah, sure. Donald Trump is guilty of instigating the whole thing. Don't get me wrong. He instigated Jan 6 and deserved to be impeached for that and should have been removed. But also, Ashley Babbitt, and they didn't have to. I mean, they could have said, fuck this shit. But you know what I mean. I've never heard of Jen Taub before, but apparently a lot of people like Jen Taub in the chat. Am I saying it right? Taub. Soulcraft, I'm still begging Gen Xers to watch Every Time You Lose Your Mind. See, now the chat is disappearing on me, and I can't scroll back. I don't know why it's starting to do that. Dummy Dog, someone needs to inform this household to leave me the fuck alone. Even Trucker John is on the big screen. Okay. Socrates says, Luck, did you kiss? Yeah. Oh, this is an old story. I'm not going to go over Luck Dragon getting kicked out because he was talking shit about Kiss. And I told him that's the one way. If you want to get blocked or kicked out of Hal Sparks or Johnny Million, just talk shit about Kiss, and that will be a surefire way of doing it. You have been warned. For other people, you've been warned. Nick Rich says 12 noon. I'm still 28 minutes behind. Wow. 28 minutes behind. 28 little minutes. Aaron says I can talk to Andrea for you at Luck Dragon. Put in a good word for him, I guess. Huh? Mr. Spock found mold on a bud. Apparently that's bad. You don't want to smoke mold. Yeah, everyone's like, no, Mr. Spock, no. David Dog says, cut that away, cut it out, cut that mold off. $88.99 says, you could be a background singer for sure. Yeah, way in the background. Way back, further back, more. There you go, way back. make sure that he's not near any microphones and near a camera. Yeah, that's where I would be. Teresa TAK is here. Hey, Teresa, good to see you. Thanks for coming on into the old driver's lounge, as I like to call it, driver's lounge. Yeah. I do have the AC cranking. Hopefully you guys don't hear it. Because I'm not shutting it off, guys. I ain't shutting it out. Now, I have it set at 70. Well, but it says 68 on there. It says 70 on here, so I don't know. But it's going. It's blowing. It's going and a blowing. Going and blowing. Kind of reminds me of Hal's set last night. I'm walking. I always wanted to do like an open mic thing, but then I discovered that these open mics aren't just like anybody can go up there. There's even a sort of a whole hierarchy of shit you got to go through just to get onto an open mic. But I wouldn't mind doing 5 minutes. I think I can do a tight 5. I don't know. Christina Weil says September 1st to the 3rd, and then Survivor's press conference. Oh yeah, Survivor's press conference. I almost forgot the Survivor's thing. We got this going on. Is that what we're talking about? We got that. Yeah, don't forget that, guys. Don't forget. Post it everywhere, every day. Spread the word. Chassis Killer, $40 phone. Yeah, get a brand new phone. It has a brand new battery and everything. Hey, user-PH9WT3UE7C, otherwise known as William, is here today. Good to see you, William. Thanks for coming on in. I appreciate you. Nina, or Ninag, says, my daughter gave birth on Thursday. I have a grandson. Oh, congratulations. Congratulations, Nina, 363. That is so awesome. I hope you have a chance. I don't know if you guys live close by or if you're separated by miles or whatever, but I hope you can go and see your new grandson. Did I say granddaughter? But my daughter gave me birth. I have a grandson. Yeah, awesome. That's awesome. So congratulations on that. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Bonnie Balcom says, hey, how do I buy a membership? That's a good question, Bonnie. People at the bottom, I think it depends on your device and where the button is at, to tell the truth. Like, maybe someone else in the chat who has membership could tell Bonnie. I feel embarrassed. I don't, because on my devices, maybe because I'm the channel owner or whatever, I don't see it. There's got to be a link or a button somewhere, because we do have, like, I don't know, what do we got, 80 or 90 members? Or are you talking about me? Or on Hal, I'm sure somewhere on Hal's page, there's got to be a link or something, you know. But yeah, if you're looking for like membership for Hal so you can watch the Flapper Show, I think you go to Hal's channel, and there's got to be a link in there somewhere. I know I bought mine, but it was about 3-4 years ago. I don't remember exactly where the link is to that, but it's on the page somewhere. the channel page. Yeah, Aaron West says, Bonnie Malcolm, click the $sign in the bottom right corner. See, when I click the bottom $sign, all I get is super stickers and super chats. But that might be because this is my own page. I can't be a member to my own page. So hopefully that will do it. Sandy Foltz says, me and my son went, and my son's roommate went to a sports bar called Hiawatha. That sounds like fun. Oh, 99363. I have been here before as Monica Bauer. I remember Monica Bauer. I do not know why I sometimes show up as my other name, Ninag. It's a YouTube thing where they're on this channel and some other channels. Instead of what you chose as your profile name, it'll be your handle. And you can change your handle if you want. Just go up into your settings and you can change your handle if you want. Ninag363 says pronounce Ninog. Okay, I'll try to remember that. Ninog. Ninog363, otherwise known as Monica Bauer. Monica Bauer. That sounds like a... Is that a name for a character in something? That sounds familiar too. 27 Tacitus Kilgore says, I was kicked out of Popok's chat a year ago. So, are these like badges of honor for some of you guys? I got kicked out of this one. I got kicked out of that. Right? Maybe I need to start kicking more people out. Give you guys a little badge of honor. I got kicked out of the truck. I have kicked out a few people though. So you don't really. I didn't do it. I didn't do it to give them a badge of honor. DPD 5844 says, but little did he know that he was caught on video. Place the drugs into the drinks. Guess what party he belongs to? The Nazi fascist white nationalist regime pedophiles. I might be mid-thread. I'm not sure exactly who you're talking to about. Sandy Foltz doesn't think that Trump's going to die. Sandy says Trump is not going to die. He's going to be at the White House till his term ends. And you may be very well right, Sandy. You may be very well right. We just don't know. We just don't know. And that you can say that about anybody. I mean, no one knows when they're the day and time of their demise. It could be any time, any moment. Tim Farrell's here. Good to see Tim Farrell, the Farrell one. Thanks for coming on in. I think I saw you on Hal's show in the chat, and they read one of your questions today to Phil Ittner, I believe. I was cooking breakfast at the time, and I heard him say your name. I think Johnny Million or whatever said your name, and or maybe I was editing. I might have been doing some editing, and I think the question was about something about the peace talks or something, right? 8899 RGRXX says, friends, stay safe, stay strong. I just cannot come over to visit my friends. I am blocked for the USA. That's sad. I hope I can come back in a few years. Stay healthy, stay good. Bye, a hug from Europe. Well, thank you for watching there, 8896 RGRXX. I do appreciate you coming on in. And yeah, maybe someday you'll be able to come back and visit. Hey, there's Jolie. Jolie's here. Good to see Jolie. I was wondering, I thought maybe Jolie might have been going to the roller derby today with her daughters. Marsha Jones says Vance can't wait for the old fart to kick the bucket. He's like kind of chomping at the bit there. Bob LeBlanc is here. Hey, Bob LeBlanc, good to see you. He says, Snowball, welcome to Texas. Hi, all. MJ Daniel from up there in Washington State says the GOP is a lie. Conservative? Yeah, right. They want to call themselves conservatives. It says conservative $2 billion refitting the 747. Is it up to $2 billion now? Well, refitting the 747 into Epstein Force One, national security. DJT teabags Putin on U.S. soil, working Americans, tariffs, family values, Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. Yeah, they're just a walking contradiction, aren't they? Such hypocrites like you've never seen, the likes of which have never been seen. Is it Narayan 887 says, how do we know they won't just rally behind Marjorie, Getz, etc.? Well, we don't, I guess, but I don't see it. I mean, Marge wins because she's in a ruby red district. So that's why she keeps winning. And then she's a loudmouth. And so it looks like she has, I think, way more power or clout than she actually has. She's just a loudmouth, and she knows a little bit about how to use social media and podcasting and or whatever. And I think that makes her look more powerful than she is. Getz, when's the last time I even heard of Getz? I mean, he's out, right? He's pretty much done, I think. But like you say, I mean, you never know. Someone could make a comeback or whatever. But and like an earlier poster said, MAGA is going to splinter. Once Trump is gone, MAGA will sort of fall apart and disintegrate, and they will find their own groups. Some of them will maybe be big Marge Green fans or whatever, or followers. But Trump had a he did have a big name to begin with, and that whole persona that was built up on The Apprentice and stuff. So it all kind of came together, and then the media bias. I think the big blowtorch of Republican propaganda in Fox News really helped to prop him up, and then even the sort of mainstream media or even the legacy media, they gave him a lot of screen time. He got a lot of what was essentially the equivalent of $3 billion worth of advertising, the equivalent of that, and just the coverage they gave him, and that really built him up. I don't, like I said, we don't. Who knows what's going to happen? But I don't see that really happening, at least right away, with the replacement, where everyone's going to run to Marge Green, and make her the face of MAGA or some other thing by another name. And they know that, the Republicans know that. That's why they're gulping. That's why you can see them, like, oh, and we can see people like Joni Ernst saying they're not going to run again because they see the writing on the wall. Their only shot, it really is for Trump to be able to just declare martial law and cancel elections and just turn this into a dictatorship. But that's their only hope, which is pretty damned depressing and awful to even think of that. Kevin Anderson, 007 Kevin Troll Slayer is here. Good to see you. Bob LeBlanc, and now for Truck Stop Shower Talk Podcast. We're not in the shower, we are in the driver's lounge. That's where we're at. Virtually, that is. Sandy Foltz says, TJ, are you going to have your live stream on Monday? Yeah, because I'm not doing anything. Truth be told, I'm not planning on going to any march. I don't have a car. I don't feel like taking the bus unless I absolutely have to go to work. Maybe I guess I'm a terrible patriot of democratic values, but I'll do a show. I can sit on my ass here and do a live stream. So yeah, it'll be Monday. I'm just going on at 11 a.m. If you guys are out marching or protesting, or if you're just staying at home barbecuing, or just doing what I'm doing and sitting on your asses, the thing about these shows, they're mobile. You can watch or listen on your phone and your devices. And so whatever you're doing, you can bring me with you. Yeah, MG Daniel, November 19th. I wonder what MTG Bobert and others feel about that. I don't know if I'm mid-thread. I don't know if someone said something about repealing the 19th Amendment, but I think that's been a discussion. I don't know if that's I guess that might be a Project 2025 thing, but you would think that MTG and Bobert and any woman Republican would be really very concerned. You would think that they like the fact that they can vote. You would think, right? But who knows? These people are so warped. Then they all go into the thing like, my church says I gotta do what my man says. The man he makes the decisions. I have to, all that horse shit. Marsha's here. Hey, Marsha, good to see you. Hello to you. Hope everything's going well today with you. Roxanne 79 says Jen missed a hurricane by a hair. I have a hair that's kind of giving me some problems. Anyhow, speaking of hair, Jen missed a hurricane by a hair. He'd have been putting up my storm panels. He lucked out, so I'm glad I usually deal with them alone. Oh, well, be careful, Roxanne, with that damn storm over there. Hope you're all right. Hope you get those panels up. I'm kind of skipping down a little bit. I know I'm like almost a half hour behind. Damon Dog says, West Webb, West Webb, West Webb. Let's see if he shows up. Sandy Foltz is really adamant about this, about Trump. So Sandy Foltz says, Trump is not going to die or drop dead. I know people don't care for Trump, but you need to stop saying bad things about him. We have to realize he's our president till his term ends in office. Well, Sandy, respectfully, I do agree that he is the president of the United States, and we will have to, deal with him until his term ends. One way or the other. That is true. He is the president, and we got to deal with him, and he's going to be there. Now, I'm not wishing for his death. Some people do. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Some people are hoping that he dies and that he croaks because they hate him so much. I hate the guy. too. But I'm not really calling for his death. I'm not wishing for his death. But I have said that if he does croak, I won't shed any tears about it. But I do agree that, yeah, he's the president, and whether legitimately or not, but he is the guy in charge, and we got to deal with him. I do think it's. I don't have a problem with people saying bad things about him, because he does. Number one, he deserves it, because he is a bad person. He does a lot of bad things. He's done a lot of bad things. He sexually assaults women. We do know that he's a convicted 34-time felon. We do know that he was found liable for sexually assaulting E. Jean Carroll. Those are the two things that we do know. There's a lot of allegations out there about rape and about pedophilia and all that kind of stuff that I think are at least worthy enough of the conversation and of looking into. We do know that his name is all over the Epstein files, and Epstein is known for trafficking women and trafficking children. And we do know that Donald Trump was best friends with Epstein for over a decade, according to their own words. And we do have a lot of photographic evidence of them being together at a lot of parties and functions. We do know that that Trump was on Epstein's private plane, many times. We have a lot of stuff about Trump that we know. And I think it's okay to talk about those things. Just like it was okay to talk about Biden for whatever people didn't like about Biden. And even though a lot of that was bullshit, not nearly as convincing as the stuff we have against Trump, but every president gets scrutinized, let's say, or criticized. Every single president since George Washington probably has been criticized by other people in his own party, other people in other parties, in whatever press there was in those days, whatever, they had press, they had newspapers, they had all that shit back then. So presidents have always been, and they should be, criticized. If we're going to live in a free country with First Amendment rights, where we can openly criticize our leaders without the fear of being thrown in jail for it, or prison, or put in stocks, as they used to do, or whatever, then that's the way it goes. That's the price. That is the price of that freedom for those politicians and like the president. They should have a bit of a thick skin, and they should be able to take the criticism, because every single one of them has, I think, every single one, all 47 of them, or however many we've had. What are we up to now? Isn't he 47? So that's just comes with the territory, Sandy, as far as the criticism and talking about him. And I would say that Trump deserves all of it. Well, it's not like this is undeserved. It's not like he's a good guy and people are just piling on. He's getting piled on because there's so much to pile on with. But I appreciate your opinion, Sandy, and you're certainly entitled to it. And you are right that, I mean, you don't know. No one knows if he's going to die or drop dead, but you are right. He is the president, and he's going to be the president. He's going to be the president until he's no longer the president. But thanks for I value your opinion. David Windler says, I love Stephanie, but the vapid bumper music paralyzes. David's way behind. He's even more behind than I am, I think. Or I don't know. I thought the whole Stephanie Miller thing was way back. That's okay. Anyhow, Christina Weibel says, I'm going to say this. I don't criticize anyone lives. I follow at least 100 independent channels here, including music. Okay. Yeah, I follow a lot of different channels myself. of all types of things, trucking channels, music channels, political channels, you name it. Mr. Bob Newell's here. I can't hear you. Jolie says, how far are we from dandelion eating day? Well, let's see. I think we're about, on my thing, I saw we were at 39.57. That number always kind of goes up and down a little bit. So I guess that would put us at, what did I say? 57? So 43 or something? About 43 subs away. Can we get 43 subs today? Why can't we get 43 subs today? I don't know. Some people do that. Some people get 47 in a day. Why can't I get 47 in a day? If you guys really want to see me eat a dandelion, then hit that sub button, the subscribe button. Because when we get to 4,000, I'll be hitting I'll be eating a dandelion live on the live stream. Luck Dragon says, "Oh my God, Stephanie Miller is the Howard Stern of all lesbians. I can't believe this person never heard of her." I'm not sure if I would compare her to Howard Stern, but okay. I remember the day she came out on the radio because she was a closeted lesbian, although I think I kind of knew already. Yeah, Jolie says Andrea books all of Hal's guests, and yes, she mods for Stephanie Miller. Sandy Fold says, what happened to Sammy Carter? I don't know. Sammy comes in. Sammy from across the pond comes in whenever Sammy wants to, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, but that's a good question, I guess. Haven't seen Sammy today. Where are you, Sammy Carter? Sammy Carter, did you leave us? Don't leave us. David Dog says Sammy Carter was in Hal's chat this morning. So, Sammy, no excuse. You should have came over here, too. Let's see. Luck Dragon says, dude, I'm telling you, I started watching Hal Sparks, a long time ago, and all of a sudden I got banned from the live chat. I don't even know. Okay, why do we? Okay, I'm not going to read it because it's a dead horse. We're in beating dead horse territory. I'm sorry you got banned from Hal Sparks. There's nothing I can do about it. Not one damn thing I can do about it. I'm sorry, but. And you can put that in the chat if you want to, but I'm sorry I read it because I don't need to keep reading the same things over and over again. Okay? You got banned from Hal Sparks. That's between you and Hal. I mean, I'm sorry, but nothing I can do about it. I'm just sort of, now I'm kind of pre-reading the chats because I don't want to read a chat that deals about stuff that I have no control over. So, Kristen Weibel says, I've been writing in caps since Gavin Newsom started it. Here's Stooge Fan 08. I haven't seen Stooge Fan, I don't believe, in here. So thank you for coming in, Stooge Fan. I hope you give me a like and a subscribe. That would be awesome. If I'm probably a half hour behind this. You might not be here. I don't know. But it's, Stooge Fan says all the way back to the edge of the cliff and then take one more step back. Oh, yeah. About the background thing. Yeah. Keep going a little further. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's good. That's good. That'll work. Christina Weibel says, happy B-Day, Stephanie B2. Hey, Stephanie B2, I did not see you come in. So thanks for being here, and happy birthday to Stephanie B2. Happy birthday, Stephanie B2. Happy birthday to you. Oh, thank you very much. Oh, thank you very much. Christina Weibel says, workers over billionaires march 50 states. So is that on Monday, Christina? Workers over billionaires. And it's supposed to be in all 50 states. So if you are so inclined, go down there and lend your support and peacefully march or protest or whatever you want to call it. Just as long as you don't riot, because rioting is a whole different thing. Roxanne says, I'm bummed I missed the Flappers. I've never heard Hal do stand-up. Well, like I said, I think if you're a member of his channel, you can watch it. And I think it'll be posted up. I don't think he takes them down. There's like a members-only section. If you could do that. I guess Ninog so she lives about an hour away. This is, I think, in response or a reference to her daughter just having given birth to a baby boy, and so Ninog's talking about her daughter and now new baby grandson. So it says she lives about an hour away. She's getting discharged from the hospital today. I'll see her tomorrow. Awesome. That's beautiful, and that's what we need, right? We need that beautiful things like that to help us get through these tough times. Christina Webb says it's Patreon to watch Flappers. Well, I get maybe, but I watched it on YouTube. So, he last night he posted it, for his for his channel members too. Because I watched it. I didn't watch it on Patreon. I watched it on YouTube. You know. Let's see. I'm just sort of skipping down a little bit, just to see if there's just a lot of conversations that are kind of like hard to just jump into. Once I skip down like this, it's kind of hard to just get mid-thread on something. So I'm trying to find something that I can actually isn't so embedded into a conversation already. I mean, now we're getting into conversations. People are talking about who they're blocked, what and stuff like that, and who's blocked them and not blocked them, and it's all kind of stuff that I have nothing to do with. What happens? I got blocked not too long ago, I was watching this guy. I forget his name now. Some big black dude, like a big trucker, and I stumbled upon his channel a few times, and he thinks he's like really Mr. Wise, really putting down some really, just words of wisdom there. He's laying down the wisdom, man. And he's a black dude, and he's definitely blue collar, truck driver, but he's a fucking maggot, basically. And so one day I kind of called him out a little bit. I didn't, I was being respectful, but he was talking about how the tariffs, this is like when the tariffs were going on. He's like, tariffs aren't going to do anything. Don't worry. It's not going to be the end of the world. Inflation, nothing's going to happen. Inflation's not going to happen. And then I had to comment on it, and I said something like, dude, because he says, all this stuff is like in China and stuff, like that, like didn't even make any sense. So then I said, dude, everything that's in your studio there is made in China. That mic you're talking into, that mic stand you're talking into, that desk that you're sitting at, that computer that you're on right now, that's all fucking from China and overseas. Those things are all going to be going up in price. Everything you have is just about is from overseas, and the tariffs are going to affect your purchasing power on that. And then he's like, oh, he saw that. He was like, oh, look at there. We got one of those guys. He's like, oh, yeah, I hate these guys. I hate these guys. Look at here. Look what I'm going to do. Look what I'm going to do. And then he's like, wait a minute. And then he's like, there you go. You're blocked. And then he like blocked me. And I'm like, well, of course I couldn't respond, but I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, so what? Okay, you blocked me. You're that thin-skinned? My one little comment about how the tariffs are going to affect prices and how having a big tariff on China is very, very impactful and is going to make life harder on people because the price is going up. And you're going to block me for that? What a thin skin for being such a big dude. He's kind of a big dude for being this big muscle bound dude. I can't even remember the guy's name, but you've got some thin skin, motherfucker. You are one thin skinned motherfucker. Anyhow, that's my story of being blocked from a channel. Now I feel like I'm part of the group again. Search for you says Trucker John. Thanks for putting those messages on the screen. You're welcome. You're quite welcome. Now another one I wanted to put up. I'm kind of running out of room here, but maybe just real quick because of the Minnesota shooting. So this popped up. Let's see. So maybe I will take this one down temporarily, and we'll put this one up for a little bit. About school shootings. And if you look at this, and people have talked about this before, but you can see school shootings by country 2025. You see Japan has 0, South Korea 0, Finland 0, Australia 0, United Kingdom 0, Germany 1. What is this here? It's kind of blocked out. China 1, France 2, Russia 2, Canada 2, Brazil 2, Afghanistan 3, Pakistan 4, South Africa 6, Mexico 8. Okay, these are school shootings by country in 2025. We're barely halfway over. A lot of those states with zeros, all of them in single digits, very low numbers. United States 288, and we're only almost in September. We're through August. 288 school shootings in 2025. And there's a quote down there. It says, the greatest country in the world, runs by a very stable genius with great common sense, remains absolutely powerless to address a problem the rest of the world has already solved. America first. So we can leave this one up for a while. And I hope that it seemed like hope I didn't get zoomed in there. But that's something I wanted to bring it up yesterday when we were talking about the shooting, and I forgot to post that. And it's just another thing where we don't want to be number one in that category. And if other countries have figured out how to lower their numbers, then why the hell can't we? And the answer is we can, but we don't want to because we would rather support the gun industries. And by we, I mean the Republicans would rather support the gun industry and make sure that they are making profits instead of trying to make our schools safer and keep our children safe. Marshall Jones, how much the Epstein ballroom costing the taxpayer? I don't know. Wasn't he claiming that it was going to be done with private money? Whether that's true or not, I don't know. Maybe someone in the chat could break away from the being blocked conversation to finding out maybe for me whether how that was supposed to be financed, that ballroom. If it's through taxpayer money or if he's claiming it'll be private money. Again, you take everything that Trump says with a huge grain of salt. Thomas Walker's here. Thomas says maybe the poet is gay, but he will be heard anyway. Bruce Cockburn. Not sure if I'm taking something out of context there. I don't know. If I was mid-thread. Stay Gold's here. Hey, Stay Gold. Good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. Stay Gold says, hey, Trucker John, long time. I've been on here. I've been really sick. Glad to see you, sir. Haven't seen Hal for a while either. Hey, Stay Gold. It's been so long that I'm not sure if I remember yet. But I'm sad to hear that you've been sick. I hope you're feeling better. I hope you can get well soon. And thanks for coming on in and hanging out with us for a little bit. I do appreciate you coming on in. Hey, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights is here. Hey, Daniel Berry, good to see you. Thanks for hanging out here in the old driver's lounge. Marcia says, my problem with our names, I don't necessarily know who we are anymore. Well, I guess I know it is kind of frustrating, and but we'll get it figured out. As time goes by, we'll figure it out. Dennis Koch, author, is here. Hey, Dennis Koch, author. I'm not sure if I've seen you before, so thanks for dropping by. I do appreciate you. Dennis Koch, author, says Trump is president in name alone. Trump doesn't act like a president and mostly is just a figurehead. Well, I understand. I do understand that. And I do think that there definitely are, there are people behind the scenes that are almost like puppet masters in a way. Certainly Trump can be manipulated. And a lot of the people have learned they've learned the keys. That's why they fucking kiss his ass and heap praise on him, because that's heap praise upon him, because that's they know that's the way in and to get his attention and to get his approval. And certainly Stephen Miller and Peter Thiel probably are the two biggest influencers that are in his ear. So from that aspect, I agree. And I think Vladimir Putin is the ultimate puppet master. But having said that, he still is the president. I'm not sure what happened to 70B2. I skipped down and I totally missed whatever is going on with Stephanie B2. So I hope you're all right. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, MJ Daniel, DJT has badly compromised national security. We are probably at the most unsafe. I think I've said this before. We are probably at the most say vulnerable. Like I always have a hard time with that word, vulnerable, to any type of outside attack, whether it be conventional or whether it be cyber wise. I'm sure Trump has stripped away all of our cybersecurity and all that kind of shit. We are at the most dangerous we've ever been in terms of vulnerability. I probably since the Civil War, because during the Civil War, I think we were vulnerable to outside attack, maybe because we were fighting each other. Fortunately, in those days, there were still, the distance of the oceans around us was still a big factor. It was still a really big, huge expense and time for people to go across the ocean. So that's probably might be the only thing that kind of saved us. Certainly, in our early years as a country, after we won the American Revolution, England thought it was about, what was it, 12 years later or whatever it was, or 2 years later, thought, hey, I think we can go back and get it back, So they came back and started another war with us. So we've had some low points in our security and safety. I think we are at that now as being very unsafe. Donald Trump has made us unsafe with the people he's put in the head of these departments and just stripping them down. And it's really scary and it's upsetting. Dennis Cook author says Trump, JD Vance is VP, RFK Jr. is the head of our health. Noam dresses up like Barbie dolls. Tariffs will fail. This is America's president. Yeah, this is America's president. Crazy, isn't it? Crazy. These are crazy times. It's the old Chinese curse. May you live in interesting times, and I think we are. And it's a curse, and I understand now it's a curse because I would rather be living in, if I could, this like the boring times of Joe Biden, when there was very little really controversy going on, and it was just recovering from what Trump did the first time to the economy and to the pandemic response, turning us around and getting us into being the best economy in the planet, the richest nation in the history of the world, and did it in a really low key, boring way. I pray for boredom in that sense. Roxanne's talking about the handles. Again, another thing I have really no control over. Dennis Cook author says another trucker podcast is telling the story from the roads, and it does not look good. Yeah, I've been off the road for almost 3 years now because it wasn't looking good then either. And I've thought about going back because you do get things, when you've applied for jobs and looked around for jobs, then you get on a mailing list or whatever, like an email list. And I do get offers to come to the company, and they have really nice signing bonuses and all this kind of crap. But I remember sitting in truck stops in 2022, but no fucking freight. And that was during Biden, but things kind of came to a head where the freight, that was like the height of still coming out of the pandemic and everything. And I remember sitting in truck stops for like 2 weeks waiting for freight. And then in 2023, that's when I quit in like February and quit driving. And from what I've been hearing, it's got a little bit better than that, but not much. So I don't know if I want to go back into trucking and then end up where there's no fucking work. Marshall Jones says they said awful things about Biden and his family. Yeah. Anna Moore says, TJ, me as well at Jolie. This is why I don't support corporations that support DJT. Dennis Koch authors says speaking of Trump, he can be president, but no one has to respect him. I don't think half his own staff respects him. Yeah, I think you're probably right there. I mean, they know they're playing the game. They're playing the game, WB2 says, and that's the thing about America. We have the freedom of speech and can say whatever we want about them. Susie Jones, who gifted me? That was that Damon Dog? I believe Susie Jones. And then Damon Dog right there says, hey, Susie, dear Susie. I'm pretty sure it was Damon, Susie. So you can thank Damon. Damon Dog, the big dog. Thanks, Susie, for coming on in, hanging out with us for a bit. Dennis Koch author says, well, freedom of speech is still possible, but Trump is working on eliminating that, starting with the media and education. Stephanie B2 says, yeah, I guess it's okay for Trump to attack everybody, but not for us to attack Trump. Is that how it goes? Fuck that, yeah. Dennis Koch author says, let's just call a spade. Trump wants to cause a war so he can declare martial law and stay in power. That's what many people are saying. Yeah, all this sending in, declaring emergencies, and trying to say, look at this crime, is this so bad? And then, of course, it gets put right back in his face. Well, then why aren't you sending troops down to Louisiana and Mississippi? Those are the areas that have the biggest crime. Why are you not sending them there? Roxanne, we need to work on another recruitment video for TJ. Get on it, Roxanne. Get on it. Damon Dog says, I follow a lot of hiking, camping creators like Desert Drifter, The Trek Planner, Lost Lakes, etc. Very interesting. Oh, I follow a lot of van life people because I was thinking about doing that, getting a van and all that shit. So for a while there, I was following a lot of van life people. I follow a lot of local, YouTube creators from Vegas. A lot of them that cover all the stuff here in Vegas. So yeah, I have a wide range of channels that I follow, Jolie says, Hal was so freaking funny last night at Susie Jones, and so were you. You had me laughing my ass off. Dennis Cook always says, whether anyone is gay or not, it has nothing to do with their job. Stephanie Miller is fine. If you're anti-LGBTQ, keep it to yourself inside your house or in a closet. I don't know. I didn't see anyone. Maybe I have been skipping down. Maybe I missed something. I haven't seen anyone in the chat say anything bad about Stephanie Miller or about her being gay. So I'm not sure if that's just a sort of a general word of wisdom there, but I don't know. I didn't see that. Sandy Foltz, some people need to get banned from Trucker John. Yeah, some people need, I agree. There should be a band. There should be a Trucker John band. I agree. If anyone wants to join my band, I need a drummer, and I need a couple guitar players, a bass player. Anyone wants to apply to be in the Trucker John band? Let me know. I'll be the lead singer. We're over 2 hours, so I'm going to be skipping down a little bit here. Nick Rich, 1 p.m. I'm 26 minutes behind. Mr. Spock says I got banned from TYT for making fun of Jink's orange face. I had a Jink. I think it's pronounced Jink. I have a hard time pronouncing his name. Someone buy that guy a vowel or something, or a consonant. Jink says rage meter with the shade of orange determining his rage level. Laughing out loud. I've never got banned from there, but and that's been a long time ago. But I remember maybe it's been a couple of years. I think I went in there to one of their chats and I started saying stuff like, Hal Sparks says that you guys are assholes or something like that, or why don't you debate Hal, Jink, you fucking coward? I think I wrote that in there. As far as I know, I didn't get banned. It's not like I go in there, so I don't know. Marsha, 7107, member for 3 months, driver. Yippee, Marsha, thank you so much. I do appreciate you. And as a little birthday wish, happy birthday to Stephanie. So I do appreciate it. Thanks for your membership. Thanks for being a part of the show and helping to keep the show going and growing. Yeah, happy Truckiversary to Marsha. And then Search for You, gifting 5 Trucker John memberships. Yippee to Search for You. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. We got Karen W09TH in there. Got one. Tracy Thiedke got one. Hello Kitten maybe got that one. Mark P. Oh, Mark P. That's the Mark P. That's a kind of a famous name there. Mark P. I think does Mark P mod Hal? I think Mark P is another mod for Hal. And then you got Erlene Brown with the, I guess that was the 5th one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So thank you so much again. Search for You. Get another yippee going out there to Search for You. I appreciate you. Thanks for helping to grow the channel. And hopefully those folks will come in from time to time and say hi. And give me a thumbs up. Now, we are acting like pretty good Democrats. We are at a pretty good surplus. 51 watching, 82 thumbs up. So thank you guys so much for hitting the thumbs up button. I do appreciate you. Bob LeBlanc says Tough Cookie wouldn't put up with this skipping stuff. Okay, I got you. I understand I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. David, the mic stand is a chopstick. You know that came from China. Yeah, but look at that tape job. I mean, that's a good tape job. Damon Dog, the big dog, making me laugh. Roxanne, $79.99 super sticker. Yippee, going out to Roxanne. Thank you so much, Roxanne. I appreciate you. I do. I don't know what GLHF means. Good laboratories have fridges. I don't know what it means. Let's celebrate their 10th super on the live stream. That was your 10th. That was Roxanne 79's 10th super. So yay! Is this how we celebrate? I'm not sure how we celebrate, but this is one way. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Roxanne, and everyone else. Actually, I do appreciate you. I do appreciate you. So now I'm just getting to the chat where I put the gun stats up there, and are those big enough? By the way, can you guys see it? Why is this not? Why is it not? Oh, I see. I wanted to maybe make it bigger. Should I make it bigger? It looks pretty tiny on my screen, so I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. But I've been told that a big leg woman ain't got no soul. Now it's crooked. All right, so there's that. Look at that. Let that sink in, huh? As the major would say, let that sink in. All right, guys, let's see here. Roxanne, my donation didn't count for the goal. Well, because I think that was a super sticker. The other one wouldn't let me send. I don't know, Roxanne. I don't know why. I don't know why things like that happen on YouTube. I don't know. But in our hearts, we know that I'm going to count that towards the goal. So as far as I'm concerned, we've got 2 out of 5. All right. MJ Daniel says, since the Columbine school shooting on April 20, 1999, there have been 26 fatal church shootings, yet schools need more something to stop the killing. The GOP is so full of shit. Schools need more private security? I don't know. Roxanne says, I wonder what Dinky's going to look like when he's comes out in the public again. It won't be an improvement. We'll see. Maybe he'll just be slathered in more makeup all over his body. It's like, cover it up. Just cover all the shit up. And he's going to look. It's not going to help. Johnny Cat says, a 2024-25 analysis shows NRA donations jumped 30%, and the number of NRA donors rises 40% in counties after a school shooting. It affects that persist for years. So school shootings are a good business it's good business for the gun manufacturers. That's fucking disgusting. Roxanne 79 says, I cried again because of Roe versus Wade today. Maybe it was on your intro, TJ. I was eating spaghetti and crying because they hate women so much. We can't even control our own bodies. Yeah, Beto O'Rourke was mentioning that for sure. That was part of his speech there. Johnny Cat says, Ted Cruz 522,000, 1,560 victims equals 335 per victim. Jim Jordan of Ohio, 126,000, 807 victims, 157 per victim. Elise Stefanik, 413,910 victims, $455 per victim. Is that the campaign contributions they're getting from the NRA and things of this nature? And then he goes on with another post with again the whole list of just deplorable human beings that are benefiting from gun manufacturers, and the gun manufacturers benefiting off of the death of children. Scully Pop's here. Hey, Scully. Scully. Good to see you. If Scully is still here, I don't know, but because I know I'm behind in the chat. But thanks for being here. Always good to see Scully Pop. Popping in. Ska. Marsha says, van life would suck for me. I lived in a car for a year, and even though a van is larger, nope. You got to have some extra money too. Wages are too low. The Soulcraft says, listen to Bloodshot America, Eyes Around. That's my drum resume. Soulcraft, you're in. You're already in. Soulcraft's my drummer. I don't need to listen to Bloodshot. Okay, so I got a drummer. Now I need a guitar player and a bass player. And a harmonica player. Jolie, everybody's playing in the Chugga John band. Why not? Why not? David Willer says, I played bass with Diz. We could have a kick-ass band. All right. Dave, you're in. You're in, Dave. David Dog, all sing backup. All right, you're in too. Look at there. It's coming together. It's coming together. Marsha says, thank you, Chugga John. You're very welcome, Marsha. Kevin Anderson says, Chugga John, Jink, I think is how he pronounces it, is how he says sink is how the name is pronounced. He's from Hungary, and Hungary C is pronounced. Actually, I think he's from Turkey, and I've heard him say Jink himself. The word, the name coming out of his own mouth. I'm pretty sure I heard him say Jink. Nothing close to sink, actually. I'm pretty sure he's from Turkey, or his family's from Turkey. I could be wrong. You could be right. I'm not trying to make a big deal out of this. I'm not trying to make a big fight out of it. But anyhow, that's my understanding. 1:30, so I'm 8 minutes behind because I have been skipping down. So if I skipped you, there's Wes Webb, finally. Hey, gang, having company, but they are down for a nap. Alrighty. Thanks for coming on in. Dennis Koch, author, says Trump arrived at 9:38 this morning for golf, as usual, at Mar-a-Lago. He is not wearing makeup and looks horrible. So he's actually golfing, because I had heard earlier that he's not even golfing anymore. I guess apparently he hadn't been golfing. And maybe today is the first day back on the course for a while now. Groove Dragon's here. Hey, Groove Dragon, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. Groove Dragon says lethal violence is caused by three things: child abuse, including neglect, bully culture, and disparity of wealth. And more disparity, the more lethal violence, country by country, and then there's ... All I know is that places like Japan and Australia and some of these places, they have very strict gun laws, And look, they got 0 fucking school shootings for this year. And if you look at the numbers over the past 10 or 20 years, you're gonna see very, very low numbers all through the thing. And if they did have high numbers, they probably passed a law that that strengthened their gun laws, and then the numbers probably went right down. But for the U.S., here we are at 288. We're probably gonna be at 400 or more by the end of the year, and it's that way every year until you go back to the assault weapons ban from about 94 to 2004, where we saw a drop of 70% of mass shootings, and not just school shootings, but mass shootings in general. We saw a drop of 70% I think it was 94 to 2004, around there. And that's why I was saying if we could at least do that, we could reduce that 288 by 70%. And whatever the final number is going to be, we probably have 400, 500, 600 a year shootings. Now these are shootings, but even just mass shootings in general, just getting a nice, good old assault weapons ban, and we can at least lower our numbers by 70%. So we don't look so goddamn awful. Look at all these countries: 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 2, 3. The highest one is 8. And then we're way up there in the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. This is ridiculous. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. Wes says my band playing days are over. We could use probably a little piano or a keyboardist, though. I know you'd want to sing though. I might give you a couple of songs, to do in our concert. I might let you do 1 or 2. Yeah. I mean, even Paul McCartney didn't sing all the songs in the Beatles, so I might have to share the load a little bit. Nick Rich, I enjoy the harmonica. Groove Dragon says, compare rates of disparity of wealth with the lethal violence, including suicide and mass shooters are suicidal, to the rate of disparity of wealth. It mirrors perfectly. I'm sure that the wage gap and wealth disparity is a big factor. I'm sure. I mean, more people get into suicidal states based on their incomes. I was there. I've told this story, I think, before. I was there. I remember sitting in a hotel room in fucking Bakersfield, a fucking Motel 6. Because my truck was in the shop. I had this big repair bill. A lot of this stuff was out of warranty. And I was broke. It broke me financially. And I had a bunch of bills due. I mean, I know this it's just in my retelling of it, it sounds so like, oh, first world problems or whatever. But I remember being like totally broke, not knowing if I was going to get on the road again and when I was going to be able to pay my bills. And I just felt like my whole world was crumbling apart because I couldn't pay my bills and I couldn't help support my kids at the time. And, I felt like I was falling short. I was away from my family. I felt like I was not living up to my end of the bargain of at least helping them financially, even if I couldn't be there because I was on the road so much. And I just felt like, I was literally scraping up coins and shit just to get something to eat. And I remember laying on the bed and feeling like I wanted to kill myself. And for about 15 or 20 seconds, I was at the point where I was actively looking at what could I do, what can I grab in this room to kill myself with. And if I had a gun, let's say, in the nightstand, a loaded gun, I would be dead right now. Because during that 15 seconds or 20 seconds, the thought, the actual thought of carrying out my suicide, it relieved all my anguish and my pain, my internal pain that I was feeling, that mental pain. It disappeared. And I felt so good because I was like ready to go. I was ready to leave this fucking planet because I had come to the point where I was actively, like I said, if there was a gun next to me, I would have been dead. I would have picked it up and blown my fucking head off. But I didn't have a gun, thank God. And I was looking for a rope. I was looking for a strap. I was looking for a knife. Fortunately, I didn't have any of that shit. And fortunately, that feeling wore off in about 20 seconds. I'm pretty sure about that, 20, 30 seconds. I don't know. But during that time, I can still feel it to this day because I was feeling so down and so just there's a pain that you feel that maybe some of you can relate. There's this, it's not physical pain, but it's this mental anguish and pain and depression or whatever was so strong and so agonizing. I did not want to live anymore. I had lost the will to live. And when I finally came to that conclusion, I was completely on board with finding something in the room that I could kill myself with. I was completely that's why I say there's no doubt in my mind if I had a gun next to me because the thing about a gun, you don't need 30 seconds. All you need is like 1 second and you could do it. Now the other thing is if I'm going to try to fasten a noose or whatever, take some pills, whatever that. Fortunately, that suicidal, that moment of accepting it and being suicidal only lasted maybe like a half a minute. If it had lasted longer, because I'm sure there must be people that have that and it lasts for an hour or 2 hours or maybe it doesn't go away at all, and they're the ones that they finally are able to fashion some way to off themselves. I was lucky that it only lasted for 30 seconds. So I do see how disparity of wealth or income problems, financial problems can lead people to find. Now I'm talking about suicide. We're talking about lethal things, but a lot of people, they feel I think a lot of these shooters, this is just me. I have nothing to back this up. I'm not a researcher. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a scholar. I don't know. I'm just talking about just from my own experience. But I bet that a lot of these shooters, because we always want to know the motives. Why are they doing this? Why don't they just kill themselves? And why do they have to take out a whole bunch of people with them? Because a lot of these people, they do plan on either killing themselves or having the cops kill them, suicide by cop. But why do they have to go and kill a bunch of innocent people? And I think it's because they want other people to feel the pain that they're feeling. And the only way they think they can do that is by killing one of their loved ones, right? Just randomly killing people. But they know that there's going to be loved ones that are going to be affected by that. So that I think that sometimes people have it. For some reason, I didn't have that, but they're messed up, and they feel like maybe they're not being heard, they're not being listened, and that no one's feeling their pain. So they're going to let other people feel how much pain they're in, and that's why they kill innocent people. And then they either take themselves out or they are hoping the cops will take them out. That's my little 2 cents worth on that. And I think we should move on before I get banned. Talk about getting banned. I might get banned from YouTube. I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to say all the shit that I just said. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know I don't know who Taylor Lorenz is. And we're at the end of the show. We're at the end of the time here. I have to go. We're at 2:40. This show, the things are probably going to die. So I've got to end the show before we can just go to black and before everything shuts off. Marsha says started suicidal ideation as a teen too, struggled on, and quite a few times since. It's why I gave my dad's handgun, shotgun, and rifle to my police station. Yeah, I know. It's scary, isn't it? Like to think that there have been moments where we've been so low that if we had a gun, then we probably wouldn't be here right now. That's a scary thing. Did I miss Wes's truck anniversary? Oh yeah, Wes Webb, member for 17 months. Yippee, Wes Webb! Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And Wes says depression and anxiety can be debilitating. I just wasn't reading that right. But yeah, guys, I'm skipping down. I don't mean to give you guys the short shrift. Is that the term? But we got to go before the battery dies. But you guys, thank you all for being here. You guys are beautiful people. I think we have a band now. Did I get the bass player? Anyhow, thanks for being here, guys. You guys are awesome. Yeah, thanks so much. I think I have to take some of this stuff off in order to say thank you. You guys are awesome. You're beautiful. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. We're trying to get to 4,000. Someday we will be there. I have faith. I have confidence. Someday that we'll be there. So if I don't give up, then you shouldn't give up either. Yeah, don't give up. I'm not going to give up. We're going to get to 4,000 subscribers if it's the last thing we ever do. So yeah, make sure you hit that like and subscribe, share button. Let's share the show out, and let's get the 4,000 subscribers. The big 4,000. You know what they say? Once you get to 4K, it's you're okay all the way. I don't know if they say that. No one says that. I'm making shit up now. So, but anyhow, guys, thank you so much for being here. And there you go. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And I would like to thank everyone for being here. Also, I mean, you guys are wonderful. I want to say hi to all the purple people out there, all my purple brethren. Don't let them turn purple to blue. No, I'm just kidding. Of course, purple to blue. But we'll see you again on Monday. We're going to be here doing the show with Trucker John and Tough Cookie and myself for Labor Day. If you guys are out marching, bring us on your device. Bring us out to the marches. And when you're with your friends, you can go, hey, look at this Trucker John guy. Would you please subscribe? Maybe we could do that. Here now I don't mean to turn the marches into a subscription drive for Trucker John. There's more important things, of course. But if we could kill two birds with one stone, maybe. Do a march for freedom, a march to fight fascism, and also maybe gain some subscribers for Trucker John. I think that'd be a wonderful twofer. All right, guys. So anyhow, thanks for being here. I appreciate you. That's a good idea Paul just had. Yeah, if you're out marching and you got your phone with you and you're watching the Trucker John show, just show the other folks, hey, look at this guy. He's crazy. No, or whatever. I don't know. Why don't you give him a sub? And then go, not a sub sandwich, a subscription. All right, guys, thanks so much. I got to get going before, like I said, before everything loses its power. All we're going to do now is the words of wisdom. So, guys, get your pen out, get your paper out, write this down. And just remember, I will see you guys again on Monday at 11 a.m. Pacific time right here on this here channel. All right, guys, today's words of wisdom are as follows, okay? So just
things that I wanted to do is try to heal our country. I think we are more divided, and certainly
Well, it's time to say goodbye. The show has come to an end. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. Have some fun times, hopefully nothing too bad. We might talk about war crimes, might talk about Baghdad. I doubt we'll talk about door chimes, but if we did, I'd be only too glad. So hostile of Easter, baby. The show is over, but could I ask you maybe to take a shower? No, that's not what I meant, but I couldn't think of anything to rhyme with over. Now my whole rhyming scheme is all screwed up. Oh shit, I should have stuck to truck driving, who I tried to kill. At least when I was out there driving, I could handle a skid, but doing this live stream, baby, has been a real kid. So I hope to see y'all again right here on the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna do it again and again, right here in the Trucker John live stream. Yeah, the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna come back and do it all again. No, this ain't no dream. This is where we win, right here on the Trucker John live stream. No, this time to say goodbye. The show is coming in. Don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again.
Rolling down the highway in my rusty old rig. I'm a retired trucker, but my spirit's still big. Living in Vegas, where the lights never sleep. Broadcasting my thoughts for the world to keep. From politics to pop culture, I've got it all. Sharing my views, no matter how big or small. Talking about food, the movies and bugs. Shining a light on all the social issues. No shows, I've driven through the desert, seen the city so bright. But now I'm living in a different kind of fight. From my apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. My apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. want to take a trip down Paradise Road, but it ain't that pretty, it ain't paved with gold. Everybody's got the dirty little secrets, everybody's got some things unknown. But if you ain't real careful, baby, it'll cut you down to the bone. Under all those bright lights, you've gotta learn to ignore the glitter. It's all about fight or flight, and you don't wanna do either. So go on down to Paradise Road, it'll make you wish that you were young. But all it'll do is make you feel old and regret trading in your love for lust. It's all just a big charade, it's all just one big game, and it ain't about love, it's all about the thrills. It's about staying in the hunt, it's about going in for the kill. So head on down to Paradise Road, that's where your friends are now. They're the people that nobody knows. So go ahead and make your big show. So live it up on Paradise Road, just don't let anyone know. It'll be your dirty little secret, it'll be your guilty little pleasure. Living a secret that the whole world sees, hiding in plain sight among the scum and the thieves. So damn hard to ever be pleased. Everyone wants to live the good life, everybody wants a piece of paradise. But where would you run? Where would you hide? What would you do to buy a little more time? Grandiose dreams of happily ever after are really just another day's end. And when the sun goes down, you just lay there wondering,